in the oral tract that's rather dramatic. And in doing that, I taught you, for instance, these two symbols, lowercase theta and this thing, both of which correspond to fricatives made by taking the blade of the tongue and almost making a closure with the upper teeth. These are fricatives, they're dental, that's where the articulation is made, and one is voiceless, th, and one is voiced, the. I told you at the time that the name for this sign was, did I say it was thorn? Is that what I said? I called it a thorn, and that, it turns out, was wrong. It's actually called an eth. I've asked my TAs to make sure I never make mistakes in this class, and that was one that I made last time, which they missed. Okay. All right, so an eth. And we saw a number of other consonants. Those, for instance, and those two, and oh, by the way, those, and that one. Yeah, and these two. A bunch. Those are part of the International Phonetic Alphabet. We'll finish learning that alphabet today. We'll finish the consonants and start on the vowels. And you'll find on the class webpage the first homework assignment, which is really nothing more than an exercise to get your hands into this alphabet. And here are the questions on that homework assignment. There are two questions, 1 and 2, that just give you practice using that alphabet. So here's what I do. I've written, using that alphabet, a passage, and I want you to read that to yourself and then write down, using regular old orthography, what it is you said. Okay? So the answer to this first question is something written down that corresponds to what I've written here. The second question gives you something that I've written down using regular old English orthography. And what I want you to do here is have someone speak this to you and then write down what you hear using the IPA. So an answer to the second question should be, well, something like what I've given as the question in the first case. A passage in the IPA. Okay? You can, if you wish, read this yourself and write down what you hear. But frankly, that's hard. It's hard to listen and write at the same time. And so it's better if you find a friend to read that to you. In fact, what's absolutely best is to find a friend that you would like to lose. Because you'll ask them to read this several times, they'll get tired of you. The nerd factor is really high. So pick someone that you'd like to get rid of and have them read this to you. Okay? Those are two questions on the first page of the homework assignment. There's a hidden third one, which asks you to transcribe, use the IPA, to record how your name sounds. That's worth some points. Please do it. The third question, which can't really be seen too well here, is just an exercise to have you focus on what these sounds consist in, what physiological gestures go into them. So what I've done here is I've listed, like for instance, this first one says voiced bilabial non-nasal stop. And what I want you to do is just give me the IPA symbol that corresponds to that gesture. Okay, so an answer to this last one is just an IPA symbol for all 7 of these. Okay, is it clear? Homework assignment. Available on the web page today, due a week from today in class, next Wednesday. Any questions about this or about last week's lecture? Very good. Well, we left looking at this particular consonant. This is one of a group of consonants that are neither stops nor fricatives, nor are they the combination of those two, affricates. This is a consonant that involves a kind of gesture which is not a dramatic narrowing of the oral tract like other consonants are. It belongs to a class that are sometimes called semivowels or approximants. This is the sound you'll remember that shows up at the beginning of the word lad, l, la. Its articulation involves taking the tip of the tongue, touching it against the alveolar ridge, that's that ridge at the roof of your mouth right behind your teeth, leaving the sides of the tongue down, closing up the nose by raising the velum. You remember the velum is that flap of skin at the back of your throat that allows air to go into your nose or prevents it from doing so, and voicing. It's transcribed with a lowercase l, just as it's spelled in this particular word, la.
Brief question, did you say the homework was due on a week from today?
A week from today, yep, due on Wednesday. Okay. Our next consonant is the one that's found, for instance, at the beginning of the word rad. It's the sound ra, ra. This is how this sound is created. The velum is raised, so the nasal passage is closed off. It's a non-nasal sound. The vocal folds flap. It's voiced. The tongue makes a little flower-like configuration and points up. Okay? So the tip of the tongue points towards the alveolar ridge, but it hooks back a little bit. Gestures which involve taking the tip of the tongue and making them curl back are called retroflex gestures. And this is sometimes called, therefore, a retroflex. The body of the tongue sort of points up a little bit. The sides curve down and around. The whole mishigas moves up towards the alveolar ridge as you say it. So try it. Ra. Ra. You're the most satisfying audience participation group I've ever had. It makes me want to play the guitar in a cafe. Okay? It's transcribed with an upside-down lowercase r. And in many textbooks, you'll see this transcribed with a right-side-up lowercase r. But that's the wrong symbol, as it turns out. Okay? Ra. Those are the consonants. Any questions? Okay. What I thought I would do, it's not going to come out great, is show you, this is a page from Peter Ladefoged's web page. Ma'am? Why? What's voiced? Ra? Oh, did I miss another question? Yeah.
We do in chorus we sing flipped R's for non-English languages. So what would that be?
Okay, so two questions. You want to know me? You want to know me? Hello, my name is Kyle Johnson. Now you need to. Yeah. You want to know? I don't know where that came from. You want to know why is voiced, or why I say that? You're blushing more than I am. That's it's voiced because the vocal cords are flapping. Now, if I weren't wearing this goofy bow tie, I could show you that with my Adam's apple. But say and grab your throat. It vibrates, right? It doesn't vibrate? Okay. That's why it's voiced. The vocal folds are flapping as you articulate this. And the second question is, what about other R's, like R's that are found in other languages? There are a variety of different sorts of retroflex R-like articulations, phones, sounds found in languages. Did you have one in particular in mind?
I don't know. Would you ra?
Ra.
Like a rolled R, but not quite as rolled.
Yeah, a sort of. It would roll R if it had a higher hill kind of rolling R. A short rolled R. I think that actually is, am I right, the right side up lowercase r. I think that's what that symbol actually represents.
And what's the difference?
What's the difference in the articulation? Oh, I think in the rolling one, that's happening. This, of course, this is my tongue up here at the end of my right arm. Yeah. And that's not happening with the... Yes, I think the body of the tongue is shaped differently too. Frankly, I'd have to go back to my books and look it up. But at least those two things differ in those articulations. Okay, so what you're about to see here is an X-ray movie done of Ken Stevens, a very famous phonetician at MIT, who teaches in the physics department at MIT. And he did this X-ray movie when he was a kid in Norway before they realized that doing this sort of thing, fried your head. And what you're going to see him doing is pronouncing these words. You don't quite see them because there they are. So you're going to hear hepa, heta, heka, hepa, heta, heka, and so on. Okay? And you're going to watch him say those things, and then he's going to say these sentences at the bottom. And what I want you to look at is, I want you to pay attention to, you'll see after a while, I want you to pay attention to where his tongue is going. So for like the ta and da and na gesture sounds, the tip of his tongue, you're going to see it's going up like this to the alveolar ridge. And the ka and ga gestures, you're going to see the body of his tongue will go back towards the velum. And you'll also see a flap of skin at the back going up and down. That's the velum opening or closing the nasal passage. So let's take a look at it. To plug in, let's see if we get some sound going. Oh yeah, that's real loud. Here's my point. You can't hear that. They'll work on the sound. So let me just point at things. We'll play this again in a minute. See, this is his tongue. This is the velum. Can you see it going up and down? Of course, these are the lips. Tongue. Let's see if we can get this working. This happens every year.
You're plugged in, right?
I am plugged in. Turn up the volume. I think we have it now. There's a lot of knobs over here. Let's go back.
Pen, a ten, a ken, a pa, a ta, a ka, a de, a ne, a se, a ze, a sa, hep, het, heck, hop, hot, hawk, a tea, a tick, a tad, a took.
See how most of these are non-nasal, so the velum's closing up.
A tot, a
Tip of the tongue, alveolar ridge.
he, dee, he, da,
Watch here.
he,
That's a ga,
ga,
the ga.
er. Why did Ken set the soggy net on top of his deck? I had put blood on her two clean yellow shoes.
Who knows, knows why. It's cold and dark in Norway. Bad things happen. So, you see, that's how we know. The descriptions I gave you of these sounds are basically done by frying someone's head like this and watching what happened. Okay? Okay, so are we okay with that? All right. So those are consonants. The next group of sounds we're going to learn about are vowels. And now, vowels are a little bit different. Vowels are actually quite a bit harder because what's happening in vowels, the main component in making vowel sounds is that the body of the tongue is brought into some position in the oral cavity. And that just changes slightly the shape of that oral cavity, and that, as it turns out, has a different acoustic signature. But it's very hard for us to know where our tongue is if it's still in our mouths. And so it's not something you can just reflect on and think, oh yeah, I see, that vowel involves bringing the body of the tongue here or there or so on. And so what I teach you now, I can't also teach you tricks to figure out how each of these vowels are made. You'll just have to learn them. I have here another video, again, of an X-ray, and this too is from Peter, no, there's no sound. This is from Peter's Ladefoged's webpage, a phonetician at UCLA. And what you're going to see here is he's pronouncing these vowels E, A, A, O, U. These are the IPA symbols we're about to learn. And if you watch, you'll see that those pronunciations just involve bringing this tongue body into a different spot. So here we go. There's no sound here, but I'll do it. E, A, A, O, U. Pretty good, eh? All right. All right, vowels. Okay. So in describing vowels, there are three main parameters. One is, well, where is the tongue in your mouth? And what we think of when we describe this is your mouth from a side view, your oral cavity, and then we divide that into a square of grids. There's the front portion, there's the back portion, and then there's the middle portion. And there's the high region, there's the low region, and there's the central region. Okay? Or maybe this is the mid and this is the central. We'll see. Okay? So one thing is describing where the body is, where the tongue is. Some serious editing for this lecture. Okay? That's one. Another difference in how vowels are made concerns a contrast between what's called tense and lax vowels. These two vowels are pretty much the same with regard to where the body of the tongue is, but one is tense and the other lax. Here they are. They are E and I. E is tense, I isn't. What's the difference in these? Well, it's hard to say. There's a variety of different components that go into making up this difference. One is that the air pressure coming up through the lungs into the glottis is greater for tense vowels than for lax vowels. Another is that the root of the tongue, at least in some languages, is pushed forward a little bit for tense vowels and not so for lax vowels. And another is that the musculature in the oral cavity is a little bit grippier for tense vowels than for lax vowels, at least in some languages. Tense versus lax. So where the body of the tongue is and whether or not the vowel is tense or lax. And the last component in describing vowels is whether or not the lips are involved in creating the sound. We say either the lips round, as they do when I say oo, or they don't round, as they don't when I say e. Okay? Rounding or unrounding. We'll start by looking at vowels that are created by bringing the tongue forward and not tensing. All of these vowels are going to be unrounded, so in none of these cases are the lips involved. The first is the vowel that's found in I. It's transcribed in the IPA with an uppercase I. That's what this is. The font here doesn't really make it clear that this isn't a lowercase l, it's an uppercase I. Okay. It's created by taking the body of the tongue forward, raising it, and leaving the lips unrounded, not tensing. I. The second vowel is created by bringing the body of the tongue forward, but not raising it, and leaving the lips unrounded, again not tensing. This is the vowel E. And it's found, for instance, in this word, red. And the transcription symbol is this little backwards 3, a lowercase epsilon, this thing. Okay. Ma'am?
A question about the first one. If we were to see what we usually consider an uppercase I, with like the top and the bottom would it be considered the same thing? Or?
Yes, it would be considered the same thing. And in fact, when I'm not doing slides, that's what you'll see here. An I with bars on top and bottom to make it clear that it's an uppercase I. Okay. And the last lax vowel that's involved in bringing the tongue forward is the sound ah. The tongue goes forward, the lips are unrounded, it's not tense, but the tongue goes down in this case. And the transcription symbol is this A and E, lowercase a and E, sort of squashed together. This symbol is called an ash. And here's how you write it. Want to see that again? Ash. Okay. So do this. Can you feel your jaw going up? Can you feel your tongue going up? And now there's a group of vowels that are created. Again, these will all be lax. None of them will be rounded. But all of them involve leaving the tongue, bringing it neither forward nor back, but leaving it in that central region. Okay. The first of these is the sound that's created by bringing the tongue slightly up. It's I, as in roses. Okay. And the transcription symbol is a lowercase I with a bar through it. Mm-hmm. This is I, not I. It is I, not I. Good luck with that one. The second one is the vowel you get by moving the tongue not at all. It goes neither forward nor back. It goes neither up nor down. The lips are unrounded. It is the sound you make first thing in the morning. It is It's called a schwa. It's found here. And it's an upside down lowercase e. Okay. Can you hear the difference between these two? Roses, rosas. Roses, roses. Okay? And the last of these central vowels is created by, again, leaving the tongue, bringing it neither forward nor back, leaving it in the central region, but lowering it slightly. And this is the sound you find in cut. Rosa, cut, And it's transcribed with an upside down V. Sir?
Just a general question. I don't understand how there can be a centralized, considering everyone speaks differently. I asked this question in discussion.
Mm-hmm.
How is there, a systematic, like, these are the symbols for, because everyone says things differently.
It's true that people speak differently. So the question is, well, like, wait a minute.
Some people might say, like, roses, like, that would be exactly the same.
Yeah. So here, in this particular context, the question is, well, I'm telling you that the vowel that's found here differs from the vowel that's found here, and here are the transcription symbols for them. But wait a minute. I mean, you, Professor Johnson, are telling me that, and maybe it's true for you, Professor Johnson, but is it true for everyone, right? That's your question. Yeah. I don't know if it's true for everyone.
Well, it's not.
Oh, you do?
What?
That's excellent. Okay, so now, is it true for you?
Well...
Say these two words.
Roses, roses.
They're different. So you, like me, have this and this.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking hypothetically, like, some people have different accents, different dialects.
Right.
Might say things, and, there's basically no there is no differentiation between...
It certainly is the case, we will see this, that some of you will say words differently than me. And so in particular with respect to vowels, you will have a different vowel than I have in pronouncing that word. I'll show you an example soon, okay?
Would the symbols be different in that case?
No.
Okay.
So you will transcribe what you say. So you have these two sounds here. So you have a guide by virtue of your own pronunciation as to what makes I different from Okay. If you find someone who does not say roses, but says when they pronounce this word rosas, then you would transcribe that with this symbol. They use a different sound there. This one. Do you see? So true enough, sure enough, people speak differently, and sometimes you'll find they use a different vowel than you use. And when they do, you must find out what vowel they use and use the symbol that transcribes what you hear.
Transcribing, how do you differentiate between those two words?
You use your ears. That's the answer. Yeah. There is a hand over here. Okay, ma'am.
So what happens if the friend we get to talk to read out our homework happens to be from Boston or...
Yeah. So question, what happens if the friend that reads off the passage that you're transcribing happens to be from Boston? There's two answers. One is get better friends. Yeah. And the second is transcribe what you hear. So that's the point of this alphabet. It gives you a way of recording graphically what you hear. Not all of us will say things the same way. So we want to make sure that we record with these alphabets the differences in what you hear, the differences in what you and I say. Okay? Ma'am?
So like if someone's from New York and they say dog instead of dog, you're like pretty wrong.
Different vowel entirely, right. You would use a different vowel than the one I'll teach you in a moment for that. Yeah. And of course you would make fun of them. Never ever pass up that chance. Yes? Yes. Okay, so this is I, roses. This is I, roses. This is rosas. This is cut.
How is the Kaplan roses different from the capital I?
So the capital I is found in the word pit. So say pit for most of you. Okay. Say pit and say roses. Pit, roses. If you pay close attention to your tongue, you'll feel it's in a different place when you say pit and roses. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't easy. Yeah. Ma'am.
roses differs from the cut because it's not the pronounced vowel.
The in roses differs from what? This one here?
Yeah, because it's like not the main vowel. It's not the focus one.
Oh, I see. So this, if you pay attention to this word here, rosas, you'll hear that the first syllable of this word has a slightly higher amplitude. It's a bit louder. It's stressed, we say. So this is unstressed. Whereas by contrast, this vowel here in cut is stressed. True enough, this schwa sound is not found in stressed syllables, whereas this is. That is a way of distinguishing them, if you can figure out what a stressed syllable is. Mm-hmm. Sir?
Could you perhaps give a not one syllable example for the lowest one? Because it seems like a lot of the way you're...
Butter.
What's that?
Butter. Okay. Sir? Oh, sorry. The answer to the question is yes. Butter. Sir?
Is the same case as far as the second syllable being stressed, not second, one of the syllables being stressed in like pit versus roses?
I don't think so. So the question is, can you tell when you've got this or the uppercase I by paying attention to stress? I don't know. I don't think I know whether that distinguishes the two sounds. I'll try and find out. We have some more to do. Let's look at those that are involved in bringing the tongue body back. So these are back vowels. They will all be lax too. The first is the vowel that you find in the word put. It's created by taking the tongue, bringing it back, raising it a little bit, and rounding the lips. It's transcribed with this, is this an upsilon? This little horseshoey guy. Okay? Almost. Okay? Put. And the next is a vowel I don't have in my speech. So here's a case that you were asking about earlier. So, does anyone pronounce these two words differently? Do you? Can you say first this word for me? Can you say it much louder? Okay, and then can you say this word for me? Oh dear.
It's like, I don't know, I can hear it. It's cocked and cocked.
Yeah. You have it. Sorry? Caught and caught. Does anyone say this like caught? Okay. You guys have a vowel I don't have. For me, these two words are pronounced exactly the same. Caught. For you guys, the vowel in this word is transcribed with this symbol. It's a lowercase o with its front chopped off. Okay? Sir?
In our case where they're the same, which syllable would you prefer?
I'll show you. Yep. So if you do say these two the same, the symbol I'll show you in a minute for that vowel. Okay? Ma'am?
I was hoping you could get one of them to say it really loudly and just one of us say it.
Yeah. Is there anyone here from New Jersey? You seem to be proud of it, ma'am. Can you say this word? Can you say this word? Yeah. You got it, but it ain't so. Can you say them? Can you shout this word?
Caught.
Can you say this word for me?
Caught.
Can you hear that difference? Caught. Ma'am.
So is it the same thing like when people from Jersey, like we say coffee, like that's the same vowel?
Afraid so. Yeah. Yeah. It'd be a lot easier if we just got rid of those folks. But front. We're now going to look at front vowels again, but now we're going to look at tense ones. So these are all vowels that involve that tensing up. The first is produced by bringing the tongue forward, up, the lips are unrounded, it's tense. It's the sound you find if you heard a British person say beat. It's transcribed with the lowercase I. It's the sound E. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me say this word. Beat. That's a different vowel. This vowel I don't use. It's beat. I'll tell you the difference in a minute. We're going to skip that one. The next one is produced by bringing the body of the tongue forward again. It's tense, but now the tongue is not being raised, nor is it being lowered. It stays in this central plane. It's a mid-front vowel. The lips are unrounded. It's the sound you find if a British person were to say this word. A, as in bait. Here's how I say that word. Bait. A. Different vowel. This vowel is A. Okay? Those are the two front tense vowels. Yeah. These two vowels we'll encounter later on. They're not found in English. They're on your handout. I don't have time for them today. Okay? The next vowel is produced by leaving the tongue sort of in the middle of the mouth, lowering it a little bit. The lips are unrounded. It's tense. I also don't have this vowel in my speech. Where are you from?
Right here.
How do you say this word?
Car.
You say it like me.
Yeah.
You don't have this vowel either. Who is from Boston in this audience? Can you say this word for me? You say it just like me. Come on, sound Bostonian. Yeah, you know what to do. You know the drill. Ka. That's what this transcribes. Lowercase, typewritten A. Now we'll look at tense vowels that are created by bringing the body of tongue back. These will all involve rounding of the lips, I think. The first is created by taking the tongue back, raising it, rounding the lips. It's oo. Oo. Okay. The next is created by taking the tongue, bringing it straight back, and rounding the lips. Raising it nor lowering it, neither of those. It's o. Okay. Transcribed with a lowercase u and a lowercase o, the same symbols that are often used to spell these sounds in English orthography. And finally, there's the vowel in my pronunciation of caught. Your tongue goes back, it lowers a little bit, the lips aren't rounded in this case, and it's transcribed with this kind of script lowercase a. Ah is the sound. Okay? Not ah, but ah. All right. And the last class of vowels that we'll look at are vowels that are produced by putting the tongue in some position, making a vowel sound, and then moving the tongue as you produce the vowel. Vowels that are created in that way are called diphthongs. So the tongue actually moves through the pronunciation of those sounds. And we will learn those diphthongs now. The first is the sound that I have, and probably you have, in the pronunciation of the word beat. This is a sound that's created by taking the body of the tongue, moving it forward and high, as if you were going to make E. Then you start making E, and you move the tongue even farther forward and high. It is E. E. Okay? It's like you're saying E and ya. And so, oops, that's the IPA symbols that are used to transcribe it. That's the symbol for E, that's the symbol for ya. They're put together to represent one vowel, a diphthong, E. Okay. The second symbol is found for the way I pronounce, and probably you too, the vowel that's found in this word, A. This vowel is created by taking the tongue forward, neither raising nor lowering it, leaving the lips unrounded. It's tense, as if you were making the sound A. But as you say A, you move your tongue up and forward, as if you were going to do E. It's A. A. Can you feel that? Yeah, like if you had a grape in the roof of your mouth, you'd touch it. You'd squash it. A. A. Okay? So we transcribe it with those two symbols, the symbol for A, the symbol for E, put together in one phone. A. Ma'am?
What's the difference between the last ones? Or like other...
So, yeah, so the symbol that's just this, for instance. So watch me. A. A. That's just lowercase e. A.
Okay.
That's the diphthong. Can you hear the difference?
And the other one is like
E. E.
okay. Just
Subtler, but same thing. Can you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that another capital or
It's a capital I here. Yeah, uppercase I. These are almost certainly the vowels you have. Unless you're... Is anyone here from the UK? Is anyone here from Australia? Not that you guys would have this vowel, but you know, it's just cool to know if there's an Aussie around. Ma'am. Can you say... yeah. Can you say these words? Can you say bait? Can you say it really loud?
Bait.
I have no idea what you're saying. I don't know. Okay. So almost certainly the rest of you have these vowels in these words. Sir?
Could you give another example of not bait for the lowercase e?
Not the diphthong, but just the plain A. How about straight?
Stray or straight?
Either one.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. The next diphthong we'll learn involves saying the ah that the Bostonians have for car and then moving the tongue towards E. Okay? So we use those two symbols to represent it. And it's the sound I. I. Like an ice. And, or in Spanish, ay caramba. Yeah? I. Okay? I. Yep. The next one, again, uses that Bostonian ah, but it moves towards an So you start with ah and you move towards and you get ow. Believe it or not. Ow. Ouse. Ow. Okay? And again, the symbols used to transcribe that sound are those two joined together to represent that one phone. Ooh is probably the vowel you have in the pronunciation of this word, food. Ooh. You start with ooh, and you do more of it as you say it. Ooh. Ooh. Your lips round as you pronounce the vowel. Ooh. This is almost certainly the sound you have when you pronounce these words. Ooh. Similarly, the vowel in O is a diphthong, almost certainly for you. It's not O, it's O. The lips are rounding as you say the vowel. Okay, so we indicate that with the W. And finally, there's this diphthong, which starts with a kind of ah sound and moves towards a kind of I sound. It's oi. Oi. Okay, starts back, moves forward, and raises slightly your tongue. Oi. Ma'am?
Is that the capital I?
Again, question, is this the capital I? And yes, it is. This is the uppercase I. So if the font were better for these slides, you'd see little lines here. Sir? I can't think of any other words.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
To what extent are diphthongs just sort of are they more an extension of the vowel sound, or is what makes it a diphthong the change?
What makes it the diphthong is the change, is the movement of the tongue during the articulation of that sound.
If you pronounce the word boat, for example, strangely, instead of like boat.
Yeah.
It didn't really, I sort of extended O. I didn't.
Yeah. So it's not that the vowels are being slowed down like you were doing. So boat.
Still be a lowercase O.
Yeah. Those are all of the IPA symbols I ask you to learn. Those are all of the phones I ask you to know. Know them by now. What does this say? Wait, so what's this? Phonologists. Phonologists must keep their glottal stop ears. Note, this sound I've been told that the sound which really just sounds kind of like the being held, the R sound being held, I've been told that if there is a vowel here in my speech, it's a lowercase, it's a barred I.
So like in bird.
Like in bird or birth or... This one? Oops. What's this? On. Line. Tutorials. I'll see you on Friday.